in terms of Israel, um, is Israel, is this a topic that unites both the Democratic and Republican Party? And the reason why I say that is that, as you guys just earlier mentioned, it seems like on the ground, those under the age of 40 in both parties are kind of tending towards being kind of anti-Israel. You
Yes.
see Marjorie Taylor Greene, you see Thomas Massey, you see all the podcasters from Joe Rogan to the Neat Boys to a myriad of others are slowly beating that drum of being kind of
Yeah.
against funding Israel and stuff like that. So you see it on both sides.
Yep.
So is it something that is somewhat uniting a very younger demographic?
It is. Sean.
I agree. It's actually a brilliant observation. There's a lot of things. There's a huge shift about what matters above and below a certain age, and I think this goes back to sort of the America First agenda, like with these guys who don't want any intervention. And I understand. I think in many cases, without getting into it too much, just to say, I think we overdid it for years. Where and the same thing's true on trade. It was like we used trade as a soft power tool, and we finally came to say, why do we still do it? The Soviet Union's gone. Like we don't need that anymore. And so I think there's these legacy policies about how we do business around the world where people are like, yeah, that's their fight. That's their problem. That's not ours. And yeah, I agree with you. There's something very unique about the alignment of this at a certain age.
Robert, I couldn't
ahead,
agree with you more, which is why I said the other day, I don't know if you were watching, that this could become a problem for JD Vance. I agree with you. I think under 40 Republicans, all these new people coming into MAGA, into politics, as you say, through the Theo Vaughn, kind of Joe Rogan, like the crypto guy, like they are not pro-Israel. It is this like, why is my money going there? Why do we bother? I don't like, this doesn't look good. I don't want anything to do with it. The Iraq war, like it's just a morass of mess and corruption. And that's why I think both parties, it is going to be an interesting thing. It's worse on our side, but I think if I'm JD Vance, I am not locking arms with Bibi the way Donald Trump has.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
Robert, I'll say one more thing, and I'll say it carefully so not get backlash unnecessarily. You think of all the money AIPAC has, all the money wealthy Americans who support Israel have, many of whom are Jews. You think of Israel itself, very accomplished group of people, all of whom are sitting by and doing nothing that I see to try to work on this. Like they need a big PR public education campaign with young people. And I see no evidence that they're doing it. AIPAC does a lot of stuff. They bring a lot of people to Israel. They lobby, they give money in campaigns. They try to win Democratic primaries in particular. But man, if you care about rebuilding and sustaining American support for Israel, there should be a $100 million project of public education for young people in both parties, because it's all happening. I mean, it's to use the cliche, it is spreading like wildfire in both parties.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah, and
it's
also,
out of control. And I just say there are a lot of parents I know who are supportive of Israel who have kids who are not, and those parents need help. Those parents need some help to know what to say to their kids to try to stem this. Go ahead, Robert.
Well, can I just add though, Mark, because this goes to your point. They are trying to do it. And I know some people in both parties, podcasters, influencers, others, they're offering to have them go to Israel, tour, meet with people.
They're doing that.
Hold on.
That's not enough.
They're rejecting it.
Yeah. Yes.
And that should be scary.
Yeah.
Is the old tools in the toolbox are not working as much.
But so they need to be flooding the zone. Go ahead, Robert. Sorry. Go ahead.
Does that make Israel a very toxic topic for those in the political spheres to either raise money or to bring it up? Because if that's the first or second question you're asked in the campaign trail, like I don't know if you've seen a lot of these town halls since they've adjourned the House, that when they're going to these town halls from Nebraska to Maine or wherever, huge outcry of like, why is our money going to Israel? And these are just bread and butter folks. For
decades, almost not every, but almost every member of Congress was supportive of Israel. And it either didn't come up, or if it did, it was a layup. You said, we stand with Israel.
Yeah.
They are resting on their laurels.
It's funny that we're talking about this in this context, because I remember when I left the U.S. Trade Rep's office in the second term of Bush, we're having these conversations with a lot of businesses saying the issue of trade is slipping away. There is less, like, people aren't seeing it in the same way anymore. It was for the longest time on both sides of the both parties. It was a given. You were going to vote for trade stuff. And it started to slip away with NAFTA, with Roth Perot. And everyone sat there, and to Mark's point about the money, all these business groups sat there and said, how could you be against it? Like, there's no way. And they just watched it. And suddenly you've now ended up very anti in the same.
Perfect comparison.
Yeah.
Perfect comparison. If you could turn the clock back, the Chamber of Commerce, Business Roundtable, National Association, even manufacturers, they all should have been spending tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars keeping free trade consensus together. And instead, they just sat by while the wildfire burned on the far left, populist right. It's happening on Israel. And I'm just amazed. The Israelis are so good at so many things. Their PR is horrendous. And it happens every time there's a conflict, every time there's a controversy. But this is different. The bipartisan consensus in favor of Israel is crumbling.
Want more great clips like that? I've got an idea. Hit the subscribe button, be part of the Two-Way community, never miss a clip. And you can always watch our full episodes, join them live, go to twoway.tv.